music is an art, but making money from it is a business. I fell in love with the art and then later realized, oh my God, now I have to make a living with my art.
Get ready, it's the new edition, your favorite morning meditation. Hey, it's me, pardon my success. I'm a hot mess. Pardon my success. Pardon my success. Pardon my success. Pardon my UPMS. Bobby Borg, welcome to Pardon My Success.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
This is so exciting. Everybody, this is Coach Borg. He was my professor at USC for music distribution. He is an author, a drummer, a musician. You also have your own podcast, don't you? Or is it a show?
Pretty much a YouTube channel, I would say.
King. He does it all. He is an icon. He knows everything. I honestly refer to you so often in my everyday life that I was like, I don't know why I haven't had him on the show. Promotion is a shark. If it stops swimming, it dies. I feel like I say that probably on like a weekly basis.
Nice.
This is from him, everybody. But thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Would love to just chat a little bit first off about how you got started in the arts.
Simply, I was born into an artistic family. My father was a clothing designer, and I am not representing today by any means. He made custom tailored suits for business persons. He was also very interested in music as well, and used to play it around the house all the time. And just at a very young age, I just started banging on literally everything, on the tables, on my head, and on his car. They got me a set of bongos at like age 4. And I started banging on those. And then by age 6, I had a drum set and I was already taking lessons. So that's really how it started. I think it came from really my dad being artistically inclined.
No, that's amazing. And how would you say that your creative process has changed throughout all of the different careers and paths that you've taken now?
Young kids starting out at 6, right? You don't really know what you're doing. You're just kind of getting out whatever frustrations, I guess, are within, or whatever you're hearing, or whatever you're trying to imitate, maybe. So at that age, I think it's just sort of innocent, just kind of natural, maybe would be a better word. And by the way, this is a really deep question, maybe if you know it or not. There's a phase, maybe around 12-ish, where now you're meeting other musicians, and maybe you are trying to creatively fit into something that makes sense. And then it changes again when you graduate from school and you realize, holy crap, now I have to make a living. Basically, you have to decide on whether or not you, and this is a huge issue we're talking about here, but we have to decide, what do we want to do with our creativity and where that merges with commerce. And some people are just lucky to just be their natural creative selves and it works. But sometimes what you have to do is you have to try to figure out what works. And you have to figure out what stylistically people listening to, what are people wanting. But you have to do that in a way that doesn't compromise your self-respect or doesn't compromise your creative integrity. And this is a huge challenge. This is really hard.
How'd you do that in your own life?
Let's just put it this way. When I realized I had to do this, I wanted to quit.
Oh.
Because I said to myself, I want to play what I want to play, and I want to feel what I want to feel, and I don't want there to be these like borders imposed in order to decide whether or not I am going to be able to put food on the table or make this a sustainable career. And then I think I decided, in all businesses, in all instances in life, sometimes there's compromises. When you go into a job, they ask you maybe sometimes to wear something specific, or they ask you to get there at a certain time and leave at a certain time and follow certain policies. No, don't do the form that way, do the form this way. And when you email people, be careful not to say this and da-da-da-da-da. But it's not like you just do whatever you want. So I said to myself, well, I'd rather be drumming and maybe having to play the game a little bit than like being an accountant or working in construction or something. So I just said, let me play the game, but let me do it in a way where I can still, of course, never sell out, but more like buy in. Let me find out the questions people have, and let me find out what people want to know. And as long as I'm interested in those topics and ideas, why does it have to be selling out in order to answer people's questions? It's really in business and innovation. It's called finding a need and filling it. And can I do that in a way that makes me creatively satisfied? I experienced this myself. I've written books that were just like, I don't care what people want, I'm just gonna write it for me, and nothing happened to them. I couldn't sell them, no one wanted to buy them. But as soon as I just said to myself, What do people want? What are the questions they're asking? And I wrote that. And then they've been successful. I don't see why that's so hard.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of creative people that will go like, no, you just got to do what you do and no borders and don't care what people think. If that works for you, good for you, but that doesn't work for everybody.
You were a huge drummer back in the day. I would love if you could talk to us a little bit about your career in touring in that kind of capacity, and then how we transitioned into more of the teaching, authoring, writing. Authoring is not a word. Writing, publishing aspects. Where did that shift happen?
When I was at Berkeley, College of Music in Boston, which is a big school for music.
Boston.
Yeah, I love Boston.
I went to BC.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. When I was there, I really didn't wait until graduating before I started getting out into the working world. So I was already performing with the teachers, and I was already performing in bands and things like that around town, not just original, but also working bands where I was bringing in money. And then I also was teaching students and things of that nature. So I was really trying to put what Berkeley was teaching me to use and start working right away. So when I graduated, I already was pretty well networked. And some people that were playing in New York at a recording studio needed a professional drummer. And they were like, oh my God, let's get Bobby. So they gave me a call. And boom, I go down and I'm recording a record with Chrysalis Records and John Luongo producing. And while I was staying there, a friend of mine, my former drum teacher, allowed me to stay at his place. And the person that walks his dog knows somebody that is looking for a drummer for another group that was signed to Atlantic Records. It's funny how things work, right? This is the importance of being networked, because you never know where things are going to all match up. I auditioned for that group, got it, and the next thing I know, I'm moving to New York City and I'm living in New York City. This was really exciting because we had like Atlantic Records, so it was a big record company. We had Q Prime Management, which was a huge management company that handles like Metallica today and many other huge bands, but Metallica being their biggest, making records with Steve Thompson and Michael Barbiero that were actually producers for a lot of huge acts like Guns N' Roses. So all of a sudden I'm like, wow, this is it. I have come a long way, and here I am at this really amazing pinnacle in my career, right? Some really cool things happened. Saw myself on MTV, walked into record stores and your posters on the wall and stuff like that. But that's where I really learned that this is a music industry. And it looks magical and exciting, but they're in the business of selling music. They have priorities, and if one artist is selling better than the other, they're going to get rid of all the other ones and put all their attention into that one act. And that was kind of a hard sort of awakening, because that's what happened essentially to our group. We got pushed to the side and didn't get the support that we wanted with the label. But it was an important lesson for me, because it really showed me that music is an art, but making money from it, succeeding in it, lasting in it is a very serious business. That was really, really important to what I'm doing now. I ended up forming my own group at that point and going out and doing what people call today the DIY thing. And we're like in the van and selling merch and booking our own gigs and stuff like that. And that was totally cool, because we're traveling around the country and I got lots of road experience that way. And the lessons I learned, though, is it's cool to feel empowered and to be able to take control of your career, but it's also challenging. Right. Yeah. So when a situation presented itself to me where now I was opening up for a pretty major label group that had sold already millions of records, and they were trying to make a little transition in their career where they, required the skills of someone like myself. And that was a rock group called Warrant. They are known for a really cheesy kind of rock song, but that's not what their capabilities are. And the songwriter was actually amazing and very talented. And unfortunately, they didn't know how to play the game between creative artistry and commercial viability. So when the record company asked them to write a tongue-in-cheek, goofy rock song, which those kind of songs were popular in the late 80s, they wrote something that was really, really bubblegum. And it blew up and it became a hit, which is called viral today. But then they became known for that song. Lesson for everybody out there today: be careful what you wish for. Because if you want to go viral, you just might. But that's exactly what everyone's going to remember you doing.
Yeah.
You could do something crazy. I can start doing really stupid jokes or standing on my head or just do something obnoxious. All of a sudden now my views blow up and I'm getting more attention, but then I'm known for that guy. So you have to be careful. Don't just do anything for attention because that might be the only thing people become to know you for.
Yeah.
Now, if you do something that is you, then you're known for you, and that's okay. So anyway, I'm with this group. They're making a transition into more heavy and cooler sort of music, and that's why they got me. And with that group, I was touring around the country and literally playing at times in front of 30,000 people, and made 2 records with that group. I was endorsed, and the people were making drumsticks named after me, the Bobby Borg model drumstick and all that kind of stuff. And it was really, 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 really fun. And I got a lot of experience, travel around in tour buses and going literally from city to city to city and sometimes country to country. That was amazing. I'm not going to lie. People coming up and asking you for autographs and you're seeing yourself in magazines and newspapers and all that kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun. Why did I stop? I realized that The Wizard of Oz was just a fantasy. I almost started feeling like I'm around a bunch of grown people that are drinking too much and doing drugs, and it was just kind of like, this isn't me, man. I don't want to be around this. And all of a sudden I became as passionate about teaching people about the music industry. It was almost like this as it was about my drumming. When I was a kid, I was insane practicer. I was really disciplined. I was practicing hours and hours a day ever since the age 11, sometimes up to 20 hours a day. So I was very, very disciplined. 20 hours a day.
So you were to sleep for 4 hours and just wake up and play drums the rest of the day?
As crazy as that sounds, looking back on it, it's like not the healthiest thing.
No, your poor parents.
I was insane. Well, at that point, I was at Berkeley and we had practice rooms, so you could practice all day long.
So that's fine. At least you have soundproof. My God.
I was super, super determined. And it started essentially at age, I think, 11, when I started practicing 6 hours a day, and then it got 8 hours a day, and then 10 hours a day. And my dad literally renovated our cellar and built me a studio.
Oh my God.
Literally, people came in, tore out the walls. They built 2 walls with concrete in the middle and stuff. It was insane.
They were like, we can't hear you for 6 hours a day anymore.
My dad was so supportive of me. But you're right. My mom at first was going crazy. The china would be going in the house.
Oh my goodness. What was the dream when you were growing up? Like, where did you see yourself going?
I was listening to rock groups and groups like Led Zeppelin and stuff like that. I was like, I want to do that. I want to be a recording artist. I want to travel around the world. I want to make music. I want to be a professional drummer. I want to be a role model. I want people to be able to look up to me. I want to be able to change people. I want to be able to inspire people and motivate people.
It's funny because it's like you have managed to do all of that through several different avenues. You hit that dream so young that it was like, now I must motivate people in another way. That's amazing.
I felt like I had reached pretty far with my music career. And then when I made the decision to switch, I felt comfortable switching. It wasn't like I felt that I'm giving up on anything because I felt like, wow, I toured, I've been endorsed, I've seen the world. So then all of a sudden I transitioned into now being an author and I started writing. We were offered a tour and I go, I'm not going. And I just started sitting at home writing. Now, keep in mind, at this point right now, I had been spending most of my life training as a professional musician.
Yeah.
I went to Berkeley, which is a music school.
I was supposed to say, did you get a BFA?
So we had to do academics there. But generally speaking, I focused on music. It's kind of like the sports guys at USC that take a hall pass a little bit, right?
Rocks for jocks, so it's like the known passing.
Exactly. So all of a sudden, it's like, who am I to think that I'm an author? But I had something inside of me that needed to be said. So I just started writing 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day for 5 years. And I just kept on writing and writing and writing and writing. Unfortunately, I had income from all the years of being a professional musician. So I just didn't work and I just wrote all day. I would wake up and go to the coffee shop and just write and write and write and write. Friends kind of give you shit. And they made fun of me and they're like, oh yeah, that book you're writing that will never get published. And it was about the realities of the music industry. Written
like
by a musician for a musician. Yeah.
And expose them.
Yeah, absolutely. Not like the Hollywoodish secrets, but just the business stuff.
But the real stuff.
This is the reality. Things. This is really what a record deal is. This is what managers do and just stuff like that. So 5 years later, boom, I make a couple calls, and this is my first ever writing, and Billboard decides to purchase it. So now I have Billboard on my side. The promenade in Santa Monica has changed, but there used to be a big Barnes and Nobles there.
Yeah.
The whole glass window facing the promenade has my books in it with a big picture of me that says Bobby Borg speaking here at Barnes and Nobles. And I'm just like going, this is cool, but kind of crazy because I've literally gone from rock drummer to author. The same techniques of discipline and focus that I used for drumming were the same discipline and focus techniques I used for writing a book. Then I wrote a second edition to that book. Then I wrote a new book and 3 additions to that. Then I wrote another book and 3 additions to that. Then I wrote another book and 2 additions to that. Then I have another book coming out this summer. So all in all, I have about 10 books that I've written that are all published and used in schools, and everything from music publishing to music finance, what to do with your money once you make it and how to invest and stuff like that. And then business basics and a whole lot of topics. Music marketing, I think we used it in our class.
If you are going to go into music in any capacity, it is what you need to know. That is a big part of why we started the podcast and why I have been interviewing so many different people, because there's so much that we don't know, because there's so much gatekeeping in this industry that is literally trying to stop you from finding out this information, because it helps the little people and it hurts big corporations. How do you advise young artists who are looking at the independent artist versus record label track, which isn't even really a track these days? You have to be plucked out of oblivion from your million TikTok followers to get a record deal. How do you advise students or other young people about that?
Not too long ago, all of this stuff was a mystery. Maybe a little bit before your time and maybe the listeners' time, there wasn't a music industry program. Getting a degree in music industry was like, what? Now it's very common, and a lot of universities offer them. There wasn't many books written about the music industry. So when I chose to write my book, there was 2, maybe others. And then I wrote mine specifically for musicians by a musician. That was my marketing positioning. But now there's a lot of information out there. And there's people that have YouTube channels, and there's people that write articles and things of that nature. Just be really careful, because there's some really good ones. And then there's some people that sometimes I'm listening to them and I'm going, that's not right. Just find a couple of people that you really, really like. Feel free to check out my channel. If for any musician out there, it's youtube.com/Bobby Borg. You can check that out. I interview a lot of people and I talk about lots of different topics. And I really do my due diligence to make sure to research it. It's usually based on experience or facts, of course. But just be really, really careful, because there's a lot of information out there. You have to find people that aren't necessarily trying to sell you something, because everyone's trying to sell you a course. Just click on the link and see you on the inside and all that kind of stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that, because people have to monetize and make money. I take those classes for you guys. And the reason why I take them is so that I can report about them. And a lot of them drum everything up, roadmap to 1 million streams and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sitting there going, what is the freaking secret? So I take them and I pay the fees, and I realize that all they're doing is framing it differently. So they're saying roadmap to 1 million streams if you write a good song. And then they talk about writing good songs. And then they talk about things like paying money for Facebook ads and paying money for Google ads. And you're just going, I thought you were going to throw down some secret here. And it's basically
all the same.
It takes hard work. It takes belief in yourself. And just remember, anything that I've ever done, nobody has supported me. Nobody has said, keep on doing it. You're going to be a great drummer. Except my dad, of course, and my mom. No one, when I was authoring books, supported me. No one, when I started doing the professor stuff, supports me. Everyone sort of gives you this vibe, like whatever. You feel the envy and you feel the jealousy and stuff like that. So don't live other people's lives, live your life, and just go for it. And if you really believe in yourself, get the training, put in your hard work. Don't buy the hype that just anyone can go viral. Truth is potentially everyone could go viral, but then you need to stay viral. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and you need to sustain it. And the only people that will be able to sustain virality are real talented people that put in their dues. You know what I mean? So be willing to work hard for your success as well.
What would you say are some common mistakes that you see young artists fall into?
Wanting to make it today and then not having the tenacity to go the long haul, trying something with writing songs and getting discouraged. I think expecting to be huge sort of overnight, and then when they're not, they start to doubt themselves and they start to feel like maybe they're not good enough. It's a long road to the top if you want to rock and roll.
It's going to take a long time. It seems like it happens overnight because overnight your life can change, but usually it's because you've been working at it and it's a career that you've been doing for 10 to 15 years. Like
Absolutely.
every single day.
Some things like sort of just start coming together all of a sudden, but then you realize that it's a result of all the years before it, though.
Exactly. Well, how did you start teaching at USC? What happened there?
You are an excellent host. You completely know where the conversation is and where we need to go. So good job on that. The book comes out. I start speaking at different places and conferences and things like that. Mm-hmm. And somebody saw me speak that was working at Musicians Institute, which is a school in Hollywood.
I took a tour there this week to try to look into their production classes and things. Okay. That's so crazy. Funny.
Oh my God, that is so cool. Basically, someone in the audience that was the chair saw me and then brought me in and said, hey, do you want to start developing and teaching classes? So I designed classes. A lot of the classes that they teach there today are the ones that I actually designed, because I designed the program with a guy named Kenny Kerner literally in its infancy. Even to be honest with you, I don't even think there was a program yet. I helped him create courses for the program. But I was at MI for quite a while, which was cool because they used my books in their classes, and I got to work with a lot of young musicians. And then UCLA heard about me. So I started teaching at UCLA, and then UCLA led into UCLA Herb Alpert School of Music. And then that also led into me starting at USC. I was teaching as an adjunct at Thornton and Annenberg. And then Thornton asked me to be a full-time professor. It's crazy how it all happened. People will say, wow, you went from drummer to author to professor.
What?
How did that happen? So I should say this. So I was trained as a professional drummer by many, many famous drummers in New York City. And then I went to Berkeley. I learned how to be a professional drummer by all of their staff, of course, too. So I really knew my stuff. I knew how to read music, the different styles and stuff like that. And then when I was an author, yes, I did write by myself for 5 years, but I was also taking courses. So I was learning how to write. I was taking courses at UCLA Extension, actually. And I mean literally up to 50 courses. How many semesters would that be? So I earned 3 full certificates in everything from marketing and writing and project management and all kinds of stuff. So literally I was like in school constantly. Also, I went back and got my master's degree at Annenberg. So I have a master's degree at Annenberg where I studied communications management and marketing and just...
The best master's degree there is, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. I loved Annenberg, yeah.
It was the best.
So I was training, of course, and now I am, guess what? I'm starting in fall 2025 at Ross Sears School of Education for my doctorate. So,
oh my gosh! Congratulations! That's so exciting. What are you getting your doctorate in?
It's an education with you're going to love this, with a concentration in psychology. So.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's so exciting. Look at you go.
Because your undergrad was psychology.
Yes,
right?
that's so cool. I'm so proud of you. I'm like tearing up. I'm like, that's so beautiful. I feel like where I'm at right now, I know things. I know things, I promise. But I feel like there's a lot of things that I don't know, and I don't know what I don't know. And that's why I was looking at MI, because I have been teaching myself production, getting tutoring lessons from a bunch of different people, getting like a lot of hands-on experience, and I've released songs that I've fully produced myself, and yet I still feel like I don't really have a full grasp of what the actual methods are, what the set rules are. And everyone always says that you need to know the rules in order to break them, and I am just breaking rules left and right, it feels like, probably.
You're a person, I think, that needs structure because that's your background, right? So you're like me. I like that kind of structured background because then I know the rules and you can break them. And then there's some people that never have schooling and they just figure it out. To each their own, but definitely I think MI would be a good move for you because it would just give you some method, help organize all that information out there and say, look, this is what you need to focus on. So it could be really, really good for you.
Which program did you develop there? I was talking about
the Independent Artist Program.
Yes, the Independent Artist Program. I actually have the schedule for that in my desk right now. I'm actually screaming. This is so wild because we're sitting there going through this and she's like, so it sounds like you have a lot of background and experience in a lot of these classes already. And I'm in my head thinking to myself, I got most of the stuff that you're asking me from 3 different classes in just music distribution with Coach Borg. We did the marketing. We did this.
We covered
And
a
it's
lot in that class.
And it's because you made it.
We covered a lot in that class. That's so funny. I spent a lot of time at being a teacher and developing classes.
It's really expensive. That is the one.
That's what makes it difficult. I mean, speaking of expensive, look where you graduated from.
That's fair. At least with like really big institutions, their financial aid is really solid. Smaller locations,
it's harder to get financing. Well, I definitely look in to see if you can get some financing. I certainly can get you into a couple classes to sit in and just check it out.
I feel like a lot of the classes in this program, like keyboarding and stuff, where I've played piano since I was 4 years old. I know I could probably test out of these things, but I'm not really looking for a certificate. I have plenty of degrees at this point, but now finding out that you not only have all the degrees I do, but also a million other certificates and are getting your doctorate, I'm like, oh, okay. Who am I? I'm nothing, but...
No, you're doing just fine.
You're the best.
You're doing just fine. But with the world changing as fast as it does, it's just kind of hard not to be interested in learning more. It's just, it changes all the time.
I was going to ask, like, how would you say that the role of musicians has really changed in this digital age where it feels like AI can reproduce anything and everyone's trying to produce everything on their own?
That's a really great question. How do I feel about the fact that there's somebody that never played an instrument can hum an idea and it will create a song from that humming, and then it can tell it what the song wants it to be about, and they'll write lyrics for you, and then they'll also sing it for you too. And basically you can create an artist. To be honest with you, it's kind of cool in a way.
No, I agree. It's cool, but it sucks.
There's some people that are threatened by it. But think about all the people that didn't have the time to learn an instrument for 20 years, but they are creatively inclined and have these kind of interesting ideas and stuff like that. I think the only problem will be it makes it more competitive. It lowers the barrier of entry. And when you lower the barrier of entry, now more people are playing the field, which makes the competitive environment really thick. So it might be even now harder for really talented people that have devoted their whole lives to it to now be competing with all of these AI works, which I think is going to be one of the biggest challenges. Another challenge is going to be, and this is scary, is the whole idea of deep fakes and things of that nature. Wouldn't it be scary if you saw a video of me saying something and then it wasn't me?
That happens all the time.
I'm already looking at things on YouTube where I'm going, fake, this didn't happen. It just could be anything. This is even going to get stupider 5 years from now where you're not even going to know anymore.
You're not going to know.
It creates a lot of problems because if someone could use a really successful artist's voice and write a song and put it out and you're like, that's not me. Think about branding and think about how long it takes to build a brand. And think about how quickly you can ruin it, especially if the song is something about politics. And all of this stuff could ruin people. Or think about people and their legacy. What happens after you're gone? And then 20 years later, oh, we discovered a track with Jimi Hendrix. And it's like, is it really?
Yeah. Exactly.
You know,
I mean, even nowadays you can go online. You can just plug in, make me a new Taylor Swift song based on every part of her other discography. And people are literally online believing that these are actually new unreleased songs.
Yeah. I wouldn't be happy if all of a sudden I found out that books were being released in my name that I never wrote. I mean, at first you might go, well, no, that's cool. What are you talking about? Now that means people care. And I go, but now I have no control over my brand. Right? And in some cases, no control over the monetization of the work that's being created. Absolutely. So there's a lot of policies and bills that are being put into place because we do have privacy rights, but they're state by state. How did the industry today change? Well, people now sit at home and they create music in a laptop computer and they have all the plugins and they have all the speakers and mics and cords and things that they need. And, you know,
there's so many mics and cords over here.
Yeah, there you go. You just sit at home and you make music and then you put it out on TikTok, you make it short, or you put it out on Reels, or you put it up on YouTube, and potentially speaking, people can see you, people could start liking you, people could start engaging with you. I call them bedroom artists. In the past, what we used to have to do is we used to have to go out and play live. That was the only way anyone was going to get to know you, is by playing live and playing live and playing live and playing live and playing live. So fortunately, a lot of my younger students at USC are starting to do that again, and they're even promoting offline now because they realize how competitive online marketing is. So now all of a
It's
sudden they're
so
making
hard.
posters again with
Yeah.
QR codes. It's going old school again.
I'm really seeing that shift too, especially with younger artists where they're like, nope, we want to go play gigs. We got to go out. We got to start doing things in person again and meeting people and networking. And
I'm finding
So-
that people are doing that. Not to discourage people with the online thing, because digital marketing is obviously very, very important.
see
So
and figure out what works for sure.
I think that's the most
1000%.
important approach.
And I feel like that's the case for not even just videos that you're posting on social media, but anything that you're doing music wise or anything like that. If you're putting songs out there that don't seem to be getting much traction, do what you say. Figure out what the need is. What are people looking for in today's market? How can we reshift and not sell out, but buy in?
Absolutely. There's a reality to life, and that is a car lease, that is a mortgage, a family, then there's kids, and then there's demands of partnerships and things like that go into it. You can't sit in your room going, I don't care what anyone thinks of my music. I'm just going to do what I do. And I'm like, tell that to your wife and see how well that gets
Yeah.
over. And at some point, you have to start making money. You have to start monetizing. Either you just do your art and it works and God bless you, or you better start figuring it out. Right? If you're happy working a day job and doing your music at night, then go for it. Then do that. But there's a reality here, and
There's a
life
reality.
isn't always fair. You might feel you're very talented and nobody's paying attention to you. I think ultimately that's usually what's going on. It's like everyone thinks they're like a genius. Why isn't anyone paying attention to me? You have to constantly ask yourself, well, how can I do what I do maybe better? I ask myself that all the time. I hope you do, and I hope your listeners do too.
Every day. That's why I paid $500 for a neon sign.
I love your signs.
Thank you.
I really do. Those are awesome.
You
Those are really, really super cool.
just got to keep ramping it up.
I know. I love it. Definitely.
Well, my last thing for you is, what is one piece of advice for young artists that maybe you wish that you had known while you were starting out?
That's a great question. I think ultimately, one thing that I would give to young artists coming up that I wish that I knew, I guess I didn't really understand that music is an art, but making money from it is a business. I fell in love with the art. And then later when I realized, oh my God, now I have to make a living with my art, that's where I wasn't really prepared emotionally for it, I think. It took me a long time to go, well, look, at the end of the day, music isn't an industry and it's a business. It's not something you do in your tool shed. You know what I mean? You lock yourself away. So just ask yourself that. Just say, are you kind of like okay with that? And if you're not, then have another skill that will be able to take care of life. Start thinking about that. Say, no, I want to do my art this way or nothing. Then I'm going to say, okay, when you're young, give it a shot. But as you start to get a little bit older, it's not cute to be 35 sleeping on your friend's couch with your skateboard. So you better have something else that you can do. You know what I mean? And then the second thing I would say, and this sounds kind of corny, but it really is true. You have to internalize, like within yourself, like whether or not you want to do something, and you have to live your own life. Because like I said, anything I've ever done, there's always someone that was giving me that kind of vibe. Why is he writing a book? He's not an author. I got all that stuff. I got that my whole life. And it's like, if I listened to those people, I wouldn't have done anything.
Yeah.
So you just got to fight through that noise, and you just got to do what you want to do and not live other people's lives. So don't be affected by that stuff. Just fight through it and just do what you want to do anyway. Why is she doing a podcast? Like,
I'm sure
all
there are
that
people
stuff.
that say that.
Live your life because you have a lot to say.
Too
and
much,
And
some
you have a
might
lot
say.
to add. Yes, you do. You have a lot to add. You have a lot to say, and you have the right to have a podcast, right? So the people that throw those vibes, just ignore those people. They're not your friend. They're your foe.
I agree. Most people, in fact, have really creative dreams that they start out with. And at some point, get to that point where they realize that either they don't want to compromise on what they want to do and that they can't make money, and so they have to go to another career path, and then completely give up on that dream.
Yeah.
Even if they could have done the tool shed thing. If you want to do your day job, you can still go to the tool shed and lock yourself away and make your uncompromising music. People don't have to listen to it because you're also not trying to make it a career, and you can do both. And I feel like a lot of people get really resentful when they see other people trying to live their dreams because they chose not to do theirs.
You're right. That's definitely a possibility. I thank you for bringing that up, though, because I definitely want to make it really, really clear, because I see this myself. When people are in school, they start to get afraid. And they start to go, oh my God, I don't want to be homeless.
Which is fair.
Yeah,
That's a
very, very fair want, right? And
Yeah.
then they start going at the stuff that's more practical. Well, I guess I could always work at a record label, or I guess I could always work at a corporation. And I'm like, what about your singing? What about your songwriting? I go, are you sure you're ready to give that up? When you're young, you have an opportunity to just go for it. You could always, at age 32, age 33, go, okay, that's enough. I'm going to go back to school, or I'm going to start my career. Well, even myself, I said, I'll give myself to a certain point and see where I am. But then before you get to the point of no return, you might go, I'm happy with what I've done. Let me transition now. But I definitely don't want people to hear this and just go, I'll get a secure job. I have seen people go from nothing to famous stars. So you have to believe in yourself. You have to work hard, because it is possible to succeed in the arts. You just have to be wise.
And you have to be really dedicated. I think that's the biggest thing that people should really take from this, is that it's going to take time. It's going to take dedication. You just need to put in the time and the energy, and you'll make your way there. But you need to start doing it. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't put the effort in, then you're never going to go. So
Definitely.
just keep working, get into classes, go to different schools, try out different programs, go check out Bobby's YouTube channel down below, go check out all of his books. Everything will be linked down below. Honestly, The Business Basics for Musicians, like, lifesaver. You got to read it. Truly, it's a tell-all expose on the industry, along with his 10 other books. Read them all. It's going to be great. But I appreciate you so much for coming on today. This has been so wonderful.
It was fun talking to you.
You are the best. That's been so good. I miss you. It's been so long. I went to his seminar. Guys, go check out his seminars. They're great. I don't know what else you want to promote it. Tell the people what else is there.
Well, I want to promote your... Make sure I have the link so I could send this out to people so they can check out other episodes.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God, please. I'll send you everything when this comes out. And I just really appreciate you. This is so wonderful. You are such an incredible, incredible mentor and educator. And
oh, man. Thank you. Thank you.
So much. See you guys next week.
See ya. Thanks.
Are you PMSing?